would we start the recording? Let them know we're ready to start. Okay. So welcome to the March 21st, 2023 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Board. The chair, Mr. Quish, is not here, so I'll be running the meeting. If we all stand for Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Thank you very much. If we can get the roll call, please, Meg.
Ms. Austin. Present. Mr. Castagnoli.
Here.
Mr. Hirsch.
Present.
Mr. Cater.
Present.
Mr. Collegian. Oh, he's not here. Mr. Moore.
Present.
Mr. Mortimer.
Present.
Mr. Zaharides.
Present.
And Vice Chair Sadi.
I'm present. We have a new business item. I don't see anybody here from the city. I believe, Mr. Sulkus, we can pass this and go to the matter that is the public hearing because I see counsel and their client appears to be here. I don't think there's any problem with doing that, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. So we do have a public hearing closed by April 25th of 2023 and vote by July 6th of this year. So 104 Waterbury Avenue, Zone R5. Petition of Thomas Lynch Esquire for a special permit with coastal area site plan. Review to construct a single-family dwelling on Block 13, Map 13, Block 136, Parcel 2, of which Indu and Turan Gupta are the owners. Good evening, Attorney Lynch, and we'll listen to your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome. And just for the record, my name is Thomas Lynch. I'm an attorney with the law firm Lynch, Trimbicki, and Boynton, and my office is located here in Milford at 63 Cherry Street. And I'm here tonight with my client, Dr. Taran Gupta. He and his wife, Indu, are the owners of the property at 104 Waterbury Avenue. I believe we're all familiar with the area. It's located in the Wildermere Beach section of Milford. My clients bought the property last year and intend to, with the good graces of this board, seek the approval for construction of a beautiful new home that was designed by Joe Rousseau. His building plans have been included with the application and part of the slide presentation to you tonight. But they, anxious to get going on the construction of this new house. It's going to be some 4,300 square feet in size. It's located on a parcel that is a legal non-conforming lot in the R5 zone. It's some 4,600 square feet in size, but as I said, it was a legal non-conforming lot on a 1917 map of Wildermere Beach, and there was a prior residence that was on the property that sustained extensive damage during Hurricane Irene and the combination of Superstorm Sandy, and it was raised in 2012. Now, back in 2012, the prior owners at that time received variances. They received variances in 2012 for rear yard setback, as shown on the plans here. And then 2 years later, they went back with a revised plan to vary the front yard setback off of Waterbury Avenue and the rear deck projections. So this house, since variances do run with the land, my clients purchased the property 2 years ago. The variances run with the land, and they are able to utilize those variances then in the proposed construction of this house, and that's what they've done. The screen that David's showing now is just a survey of the property showing where the house will be laid out. It's, as I said, a small lot. The lot is accessed by a 10-foot deeded right-of-way off of Waterbury Avenue, traversing back to the parcel, which does bound on the south by Long Island Sound, and that is the means of ingress and egress to the site. David, if we could scroll then to the plans themselves. We can go, yeah, go to the floor plans and the elevations. I was going. There you go. So as I said, Joe Rousseau did a great job in designing this house for my clients. It's typical of the construction that's been going on all along the shoreline. It's a house that is built on piers with 3 levels of living space above. So the lower level shows the 2-car garage. It is not a tandem garage. It's a double-sided garage with storage space that can be utilized in the area. The second floor of the house has a open kitchen, dining area. There is a proposed bedroom or office on the first floor, along with a bath. The third floor has the master bedroom and 3 other bedrooms, along with a laundry and the rear deck. And then the third floor of finished living space is going to have half of it designated for an area for the mechanicals, and then the rear portion basically to being a great room with a balcony looking out over the sound. Your plans as submitted to you tonight, I'm sure you had a chance to review. The plans were reviewed by Stephen Harris, the zoning enforcement officer. The property, in terms of the construction on the property, was found to be zoning compliant. Plans were also reviewed by Greg Podleski, our city engineer. There were some minor technical comments that he made, but he did state in his letter to you that they were minor in nature, and that this board's approval, he had no problem with the board approving it conditional upon some minor revisions. There were a couple of typos on the CAM application itself that he wanted corrected, but otherwise it's compliant zoning-wise with the variances. The height of the building is compliant. It's been measured to be 34 feet, 11 inches to grade, off of mean grade, so that is within the 35-foot height requirement. And then lastly, the property is located in zone VE, so that means that the first floor elevation has to be 2 feet above 15. So again, Joe's plans show that the first floor finished living area will be 17 feet elevation, and that is FEMA compliant. So other than that, again, it's a beautiful house. My clients are quite anxious to get started on the construction, and any questions, we'd be happy to entertain them for you.
Thank you very much, Attorney Lynch. Are there any members of the board that have questions? I'll look to my left first. See none on my left, any on my right. I have a couple of questions, if you could, please. As I understand the plans, your property is not going to be fronted on Waterbury, it's going to be actually fronted on the Sound, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you said...
Well, the rear of the property is on the Sound.
I'm sorry?
The rear view, the elevation going out to the south will be on the Sound.
Okay. But I heard you mention there's a deed for your, you'll get automobile passageway, is that correct?
To Waterbury Avenue.
Okay, okay. Yeah. On the plans that you have submitted to us, there's an area that's called temporary topsoil stockpile. Would you briefly explain that to us?
Well, it's typical during construction, and that's why it's reviewed by both the Inland Wetlands Officer, Mary Rose Palumbo, and as well as the city engineer, because for any construction along the shoreline, the client is obligated to be sensitive to not infringing upon the shoreline resources such as grass areas and dunes. So that on the plans as they're submitted, there's an area on the property where that's where any back excavation for the foundation during the course of the construction for the pilings or the piers that the house is going to be built on, they have to be stored in that area. And then afterwards, it then gets backfilled to around the house.
Thank you. It's not something we normally see. The last area I want to talk about is, you had, in the beginning of your presentation, you indicated this was a legal, non-conforming use. We have some issues going to be coming up in the near future on this, but Was this part of the situation where we got rid of 642 and this then was certified as a building lot? Is this unrelated to that?
All right, and I'm going to start, with all due respect, to correct you. I didn't say that it was a legal non-conforming use. It's a legal non-conforming lot.
Correct. So you did correct me appropriately.
All right.
Thank you. Sorry if used the wrong term, but
And no, this is not a 642 situation because there was a prior residence that was on the parcel that was built at the time that the subdivision was put in. It was a typical Wildermere Beach cottage that may have been built in the 1910s or the 1920s. So it's not the situation that you're running into in your consideration of the regulation change, whether you make one or not, as it relates to the zoning office certifying lots under 642.
thank you. And the last thing that related, you indicated there was a variance granted. Was that for side lots?
There were actually two variances. There was one in 2012 that was a side yard variance, and then there was a second one in 2014 that was a front yard variance off of Waterbury and the rear deck projections. So that because of the decks going into the side area, it necessitated the variances.
Thank you very much, Attorney Lynch. It's always good to be educated. At this point, this is a public hearing. For the record, and the picture may not pick it up, but we have yourself and apparently your applicant that is with you. I see nobody else in the room. So it appears to me that there's nobody that you have brought to speak in favor of this application. Or did you want to have your applicant speak? That's up to you.
No, we're fine.
Thank you.
With the presentation. Yep.
I see nobody that is here to speak in favor of this, nor in opposition. It would seem to me, to the members of the board, that we should close this public hearing and a vote. Is there any concern about closing it now? It appears, in looking at the nodding of the heads or shaking of the heads, it appears to be affirmed. So I'm going to close this public hearing. The next step that we do, members of the board, is any questions we have. I have nothing further, but if anybody has anything else. I see nothing to my left, nothing to my right.
We should hear probably the staff report from...
No, I was going to go to David in a minute, yeah. Thank you for helping me out.
He's smiling.
Lastly, David, if you would give us your administrative summary, please.
The applicant is proposing to construct a new single-family dwelling of approximately 34 and 11/3 inches in height at approximately 4,300 square feet on a previously developed site. No adverse impact to coastal resources is anticipated.
Thank you. Anybody have a motion to make on behalf of this particular matter now that we've closed the hearing and there's no further questions?
Yes,
Mr. Mortimer.
I'll make a motion. I move to approve, as presented, the petition of Thomas Lynch Esquire for a special permit and coastal area site plan review, excuse me, to construct a single-family dwelling on map 13, block 136, parcel 2, of which Indu and Taran Gupta are owners.
Second.
Second by Mr. Castagnoli. Any further discussion? Seeing none, if you might take the roll, please, Meg.
Ms. Austin,
With the motion.
Mr. Cassidy.
Yes.
Mr. Hirsch,
With the motion.
Mr. Cater,
With the motion.
Mr. Moore,
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer,
With the motion.
Mr. Zachariadis,
With the motion.
Vice Chairman Sadi.
With the motion, good luck to you
right,
and
thank
your
you.
client. Thank you very much.
Thank you for shifting the agenda.
Thank you. So back to 183 Homeacres Avenue. Although there was some material provided to us, Mr. Sulkus, it appears that we would not be able to go forward without a presentation by some member of the city. Would that be a fair assessment?
Well, that's up to you. I will tell you that in the past, when the city has asked to sell property, there's really not much of a presentation other than, the city attorney's office generally would give you some background saying that the property has been foreclosed on or whatever the issue is, how we've acquired the property. And typically, when the city, after they get the permission to sell the property, it goes up for auction. So I would anticipate this being handled the same as those properties. So, you know, I think you could move forward without a presentation for the city.
Okay. If I might just further ask you, because the way that we put it on the agenda, one way of implying is that there's actually a sale that is pending to either a private citizen or a business, and it's coming up the next month. Are you aware of any pending sales for this particular property?
No, I'm not.
Fair enough. So I'll address the new business, 183 Home Acres Avenue. Referral pursuant to Section 824 to approve the sale of that city property at a time in the future, obviously, via the foreclosure that was acquired. Is there any discussion that members would like to have on said issue? Mr. Hirsch, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Vice Chairman, I don't think we need the city's approval to vote on this. The city knows this is happening. I don't think we need to wait another minute. I think we should just go ahead and vote on this right now.
Anybody else? Thank you. At this point, is there any reason to keep this matter open? Appears not. I will take a motion on the new business item C1.
Excuse me. I move to approve the petition of the City of Milford pursuant to CGS Section 824 for the sale of 183 Homemaker Avenue acquired via foreclosure.
Second.
Mr. Castagnoli, I think, has a second. Any further discussion on this? Appears to be none. If we could take a vote, please.
Ms. Austin? With the motion. Mr. Castagnoli?
Yes.
Mr. Hirsch?
With the motion.
Mr. Cater?
With the motion.
Mr. Moore?
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer?
With the motion.
Mr. Zachariadis?
With the motion.
And Vice Chairman Sadi?
With the motion. Old business, we have none. Liaison reports, I have nothing to provide. I know there's been actions by POCD, and there might be some other activities and regulation, but that would be subcommittee reports. Approval of minutes. If we could take a motion to approve the minutes, and I will be abstaining during the process.
I move to approve.
Second.
This is Mr. Zerby. Second was Mr. Hirsch. Okay, thank you. We'd have to, on this one, I would have to be, I'm going to abstain. I wasn't here. And I think there's two other members that were not here that would be abstaining if they wish. Mark and Joe. That if you were not at that meeting, we would be abstaining from vote because we were not present at the meeting on March 7th. Okay, so if we could take the vote then, please, Meg, and you have 3 abstentions.
Ms. Austin?
With the motion.
Mr. Hirsch?
With the motion.
Mr. Cater?
With the motion.
You're here. Were you? Okay, sorry. Mr. Moore?
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer?
With the motion.
And Mark, you weren't
Abstain?
here? Are you abstaining?
Yeah.
Okay. And Vice Chairman Sadi?
And I'm abstaining.
All right, sorry.
And Mr. Kessler. So thank you very much. Interestingly enough, I'm going to be very brief on this chair's report because we did have an educational process, and one of the things that we'll have to decide at this point is usually these are approved by a voice recognition. At the educational seminar, one of the points they brought up is we should have a voice, no voice votes, everything should be a vote call, but that's for a different moment. I found it very enjoyable. I learned some good stuff. If you have a chance to get this, it's going to be online. We have the books. Those of you that are going to be subject to this requirement for education, it was very good. And I know a number of us did attend that. It was a long day, but we did. That being said, is there a wonderful staff report tonight?
None this evening.
Okay. Any further questions? I don't see anything here. A motion to adjourn on Mr. Hirsch?
Yes. When will be the next subcommittee meeting on the regulations?
Mr.
This 6.4.2 has been floating around for, it seems like forever. We got to come to a resolution, I think, at some point.
What's going on is we're in the process of bringing forward the new POCD draft. So that's been taking up the chair's time and other members' time. There's a meeting regarding the draft next week. And after that meeting, which will be on the 28th, I would anticipate the subcommittee for the regulations getting its due attention. Yep.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Cassignoli. Thank you all very much. Have a good time. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.